Morning everybody, that time of the week again, Sunday Q&A. Bit of everything this week. Firstly, and most importantly, my mate Dave the Chris rang me a couple of days ago and he says, remember to tell everybody, because he's a cab driver, he's a proper green badge holding black cab man, from Monday, if you go inside the congestion zone, which is like the central London New LEZ zone, it's 20 miles an hour. Everywhere. And I kind of went, yeah, but them cameras, are they calibrated? Normally you go 26, you maybe get away with it. He says, my mate Rocco's already been done twice. Once for doing 24 and once for doing 26. One of them was a course, one of them was a fine. So, get a bit closer to the camera here. So be careful, chaps. You're going inside the zone, it's 20 miles an hour for a Monday. There you go, Dave. Thanks for the heads up. Right, questions, what we got? Oh yeah, questions and points, obviously. NC Turbulence says, if you're not VAT registered, doesn't it just come off your tax? Well, yes, it does. This was always Tony's point, in the fact that if you claim the VAT back, you can basically, if you pay the VAT and claim the VAT back, then all them 20% you get on your tyres, your diesel comes yours. But if not, it becomes a cost which can be written off against tax at the end of the year. Although talking to the people who know, like my mate Simple Brian, he says, yeah, but you're still much better off with a VAT. I think if you're owning a driver, maybe the flat rate seems to be simple, charging 20%, pay back 10. But again, I'm just a porthole. I do never profess to know the answers. Any comments, please let us know. Stick them underneath, I'll always share. Lee Westcott, he's thought about joining the CX for return jobs, but has decided for 1 to 2 a month it isn't worth it. Right, Lee, we'll come back to that one at the very end. All right, cheers. You may be right, it's not for everybody, but we'll come back to you at the end because there's someone else made a similar kind of point. Paula Bevan, he says he stopped replying to the forums because they're full of negativity and anger. And there he says about ghost jobs being on there, jobs more than once, jobs from different companies and jobs that don't exist. I'll be honest with you, I never go on the forums purely for the reason that I'm in the van all the time. And the forums, I think, are more for people with computers. So if you're a shipper, I think the forums, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people on the forums that know what they're talking about, much more than me, and I'll give you the advice that you need. Maybe if you go on, ask a question, that's what it's there for, that's what it was created for. It was created for the drivers. As for me, I've basically winged it. I pick the whole thing up personally as on which I go along, and all I do is I do this channel, which is kind of helps people, maybe for this is my personal experience and what people that know much better than me can share. But yeah, the forums are out there, they're there. I really can't comment, mate, because I never look on them. I'm driving or I'm on the phone, and it's kind of a computery thing, to be honest with you. Yorkshire Daily Grind makes a good point. He says he's talking about the channel. He says it's interesting to see what others are asking. Even if you think you know the answer, it's good to see what goes through other drivers' minds. And I think hopefully that is the answer. I mean, that is why we do it. We do this so people can ask, and the people that don't know can ask the people, and the people that do know can share. And I've found a lot of times I'm thinking oh well, obviously that's the way forward. And someone's made a comment, and I've gone, well, that's an interesting point, actually. I'd never seen it from that perspective. Yeah, it's good to look at things from different perspectives, like Robin Williams in that film, Mork and Mindy. No, they're poets, weren't it? Turbo Toes is agreeing with us. I think it's Turbo Toes or something like that. It says you absolutely need to find your own customers. Yes, you do, mate. It's the way forward. It's a lot of shoe leather. It takes a lot of time, but it's definitely the way forward. Sangar. Oh yes, Sangar Bandy says he's done the Cockney video. I did a Cockney video but a long time ago when I was doing the market trader thing, and he said you correctly leave the rhyming bit off of rhyming slang. Yeah, no one turns around and says give me give me a cockle and hen, give me a Lady Godiva. If you do that, they're going to look at you like it's a lady, it's a bottle. I remember my mate Big Dave, and I turned around to him once and I said how much? He said give me a bottle. And I was just straight with him. I looked at him, I went, I don't know how much it is. I'd never ever come across it before. And he just went, bottle of glue, 2. Right, okay. From that point onwards, if anyone says to me, how much is it? You go, it's a bottle. You don't say, it's a bottle of glue. That just makes you look silly. Greta, Greta Give, I actually said I was going to write that properly. Greta says, do you send the original PODs or copies? Send the original PODs. They ask for the original PODs. Send a copy. They can turn around and say, this is not the original. I'm not paying. Where's the original? What to do, Greta? I used to photocopy all my PODs and keep them. If you go back to the invoicing videos I did back in the beginning, I don't bother with that anymore. What I do is I scan it. When you get to the end, when you get to that delivered POD stage, it says, do you want to take a photograph or scan? If you scan it, it goes on to the system as a PDF. Then send them the original. If for some reason ever they turn around and say, you haven't sent the original, you haven't received the original POD, you go, well, I've sent it. And obviously I can't send it twice, but what I'll do is I'll send you a copy of the scan. And then you go on a computer, get the PDF, print off the scan copy, which with the little blue line thing, looks as good as it's going to like the original, and send that. And that's all you can do. If they can't, they ask for original PODs, but you can only send it once. If it gets lost in the post, or if they lose it and say we can't find it, that's all you can do. Paul Wilkes has joined, and he says it's doing okay for him, and he works my system as well. I don't know if he's joined. He might have joined a little while ago. Wilkins, sorry, Paul. Yeah, he does the same thing as me. Get up early. My first job on Monday is picking up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Get that off, get another job, and get one on for the evening for the next morning. If you go like that, you're running. You might start at 6, you might finish at like 6, but you can get your day's money. So he's doing the same thing as me. Please, it's working out for you, mate. RK, who seems to have changed his little icon, foxed me for a little bit there. RK, he used to be a little Mario man with blocks, and that's something else. He runs Google and TomTom at the same time. In case one gets confused. Now, I know the similar case, but I'm going to do a little video on this, I think. Again, just because I think it would be nice to have that one out. I'll be honest with you, I've only got, all I have on my dashboard's a phone. I know some of you have got like a phone, and then you've got a sat nav, and also you might have an iPad or a computer, and it looks like Starship Enterprise in there, with all the screens. I don't like the wires, and it gets in my way, and this is a distraction. And I managed to work everything off the phone, so I'm going to do a little video on how I work. Like I say, that's just how I do it. You do it your way. Good thing about CX, do it your own way. It's like Burger King, you have it your way. Tiffy So Cornwall says, good point. If a job says extra long wheelbase and then it says 2 pallets, can you do it if you've got a long wheelbase? Now, the way I see it, a long wheelbase is 3 pallets. You could potentially do it if you had a medium wheelbase. Some people say otherwise. But to me, medium wheelbase 2 pallets, long wheelbase 3 pallets, extra long wheelbase 3 pallets. 2 metres, 3 metres, 4 metres. What I would do in this situation is I would ring them. And I have a similar situation myself where if it says Luton Curtainside, normally I just go, no, I just can't do it, I'm a Curtainside. But sometimes, if I really want the job, if it's in a close location to me, say it's the last job of the day, it's a close location, it's taking me home, I really want that one, I'll ring them and I'll go, does it really need a curtainside? Does it need a curtainside because it's high and I can't get it through the back shutters? Or does it need it because it's long? Because I've had 4 metre pallets on. I've had heavy 4 metre pallets on. There is a way of doing it, which once again, if it ever comes across, I'll show you how it works. 9 times out of 10, they say, no, it needs a curtainside. 1 times out of 10, I've got to ring the customer, or actually, no, I think a box will do. In that case, you get it. So it's I would say that if the job came up and it was 2 pallets and you wanted the job and it said extra long wheelbase, ring them up and say, look, I'm in a long wheelbase. I'm in a normal size transit, but I can get 3 pallets on. It's only 2 pallets, and they'll say yes or no. There you go. And then if you turn up and it doesn't fit, and they'll go, well, it said long wheelbase. You can go, yeah, and I phoned you and I told you what van I was coming in with, and it don't fit. It ain't my fault. I told you this. So there you go. Steve, it looks like Steve Reckless. It's probably something else. He's thinking of joining, but he gets the impression that it is good for backloads and not necessarily as an income generator, and it's a race to the bottom. Well, I have done a video on what the CX is to me, which I've done that last week because I'm backing these up now, and I'm going to put that one out next week. The video will make it a lot clearer, but it is very good for backloads. That's what it was created for, but it can still be an income generator. But I keep saying, it's not a magic wand. You get out what you put in, and it's work, and you're on it all the time. But anyway, watch this space, and there'll be one going out next week, which hopefully, clears that one up a little bit better. Gareth Vickers, he's caught up with the videos. That must have taken you a while. There's a few on there now and there. He's joining up and he has a few questions. about the CX and about YouTube, because he does his own mountain biking videos. You do have a few questions, don't you? I looked under there and I went, I ain't going to be able to answer these on Sunday. People are going to be watching it. He's going to interrupt with call a midwife or something like that. So what I recommend you do, Gareth, Monday to Friday, between about 9 to 5, ring me. My number is 07970 723 884. You can talk to me. If I don't answer, it means I'm tipping, and I'll ring you back. But just ring me and we'll have a chat about it. You know. MKL says, great. He said it would be great to hear some funny stories of you of you know, things that happen. Well, I didn't suppose that anyone was that interested, but yeah, okay. If something goes a bit crazy or pear shaped, which it normally does, at least twice a week, I'll stick it on there, mate. Yeah, why not? Well, you know, if you like, no problem. There you go. Lee the Taffy, I think that's what it says. Are there many runs for Luton to Czech or Poland, etc.? I believe so. But the thing is, what I do is, once I see a run and it's going from somewhere to, you know instantly from the postcode, it say NL, you think, what's the Netherlands? Or it will say P something, and you go, or CZ, and you go, I just instantly don't look at it. But there are runs to foreign countries all of the time on CX for Luton vans. The only thing I would be wary of is I don't think they sell for a lot of money. I've been talking to my mate Franz, and he just enjoys doing it, and he's doing all right. But he's one of those guys. Whereas I'm kind of running all the time, is like, you know, for the income thing. Franz is doing all right for himself anyway, and he doesn't have to run quite so fast. And he said, I would quite like to go. He said, I'd like to go drive in Europe, because he said, I love driving. He said, I did a holiday in Europe, and he said, you know, love driving, want to get out there. He said, but I'm ringing them up and I'm quoting the money, and I think a lot of the time the jobs don't necessarily go for mega dose. There's only one thing I'll be wary of. Anybody out there who's listening to this, like I say, I've never gone over the water yet. Furthest I've gone is like Edinburgh, Glasgow. But anyone listening to this who does do foreign runs, please leave some comments. I'll happily pass them on. What we got? Go back to Gareth Vickers again. Oh yeah, you listened to the radio, and he said, thank you for listening to my radio show, where I plugged the book, which is called, there you go, Shall I Go On Mum by Peter Coth, available on Amazon. Unfortunately, it's not free anymore, so you've got to buy it now, but I think the digital download's 99p, so it ain't the end of the world. Yes, thank you for listening. And he says, please, I like the whiteboard idea. Mate, I like the whiteboard idea so much that there is another video probably going out next week on the LEZ and the ULEZ, and I use the whiteboard in it. So cheers for that. Fantastico. Tim Akil says, is there a starter pack? I don't quite know what you mean by this, but if you want to leave another comment on what you mean by it, but if you're assuming the stuff you need to get started, I've done stuff in the past on kit that you need, but I think I might do another video again for you, which is like try to show you all the stuff, put it all on the floor, and go. The truth of the matter is, all you need to get started is a van, high reward insurance, goods in transit insurance, and public liability. And I don't even think the public liability is a requisite. It's just a thing that you should have. But and I'll show you like all the kit that I've got that comes in handy. You pick and choose which ones you take. Okay, again, hello mate. He said, we're going on best place to live in the country here now. Doesn't matter where you live, because it all evens out. He says, you need a partner or a 10-year-old who wants a bit of extra pocket money, calling out the jobs from your destination. Akim Usabi. I know exactly what he's talking about. So you pick a job, you think, I'm going to be arriving in Milton Keynes in an hour. Let's have someone looking at Milton Keynes going, you know, let's you know what's coming out. Well, you can, and Longfinger replied to this, and he says, you want to multitask, you want to do it yourself. I do it myself, and you can do it. You go on the loads thing and you go going to, and you can type in where you're going to, and you can also type in when you're going to get there and where you're going back to, and then jobs that will show up along the way. It's not always that straightforward, particularly when you're trying to drive and you're on the phone, and you obviously, you know, you've got to be careful. You know, you can't use the phone while you're driving. But yeah, you feel hopefully you guys will find a way of doing it. But yes, it does make sense to have a job lined up, so you know when you're going to get there, and then you can ring them and you can go, right, I'm tipping in 10 minutes, I'm tipping in, I'm going to be there in an hour. And then just tell them, I'm going to be there in an hour. If I can get it off, oh, okay, I can be there by this time. And then if you get there and you say, remember I rung you an hour ago? And I said I was going to be there an hour. When I'm here and there's 10 lorries in front of me, so I ain't going to make it. And I'm like, oh, I said, no, I did say. As long as you tell the shipper, keep them informed. They might go, because they know the score, they might go, well, I'm sorry, mate, but I'm not going to give you that job in case it goes wrong. And you go, that's fair enough. Absolutely. I just thought I'd ring on the off chance, kind of thing. Tim Jones says he does a regular return from Kentish Town to Port Talbot. He would join, he said, but the price put him off. So this comes back again to something we did at the beginning. Lee Westcott's thing. I will do a video on, the price and the return jobs and stuff like that, and what I think. This is all just what I think. I'm just some clueless guy sitting in a shed. Makes you think, doesn't it, if you sit in a shed? How good could it be? Finally, this week, as usual, Gary John Baker, always pleased to hear from you, my friend. Mercedes 63, who didn't have the best time on the CX by the sounds of things. Sorry, mate, it doesn't work for everybody. Like I say, I've never, don't join if it works. Brilliant, it worked for me, doesn't work for everyone. And one of them has turned around and says, Gary says, a bit of your moustache is missing. It's to do with going on the radio. I did that video for going on the radio. A bit of your moustache is missing, and see it, Mercedes is at least to have a shave. It's radio. They can't see me. It's not got a webcam, it's radio. Having said that, personal grooming is not my finest hour. I'm kind of a little bit rough and ready, really. I do try a little bit, but, And as for have a shave, now don't feel bad about this. The last time I actually had a proper shave, a proper clean shave with a razor, was the day of my mum's funeral. Now that sounds like I'm constantly in mourning. No, it's not. I had to have a proper shave on the day of my mum's funeral because I thought if I don't have a proper shave, I had to give the eulogy. Which incidentally, if you want to read about it and everything that went on before, it's in this book here. Shall I Go On, Mum by Peter Coath, available on Amazon for the cheap price of 99 pence. If you don't, it's not what you'll see, don't worry about it. But I had a shave, I looked at myself in the mirror and I thought, my God, I look awful. At least the beard covers up the chins, and I thought, oh no, I'm not doing that anymore. So that's why. There you go, guys. It's only Q&A. As always, I've got a few lined up for you next week. I think there's going to be one on the ULEZ. There's going to be one on what the CX is. I've never done a video on what the CX is. I think if anyone Googles it, they don't know what the CX is. There's nothing there. So I've done one on what it is, or what it is to me, if you like, with my personal experience. That's all it is. Just my personal experience. The clueless idiot in a shed. In the meantime, to everybody out there who's doing it and everybody out there who knows better than me, please leave the comments, educate me so I can educate everybody else. And in the meantime, all of you in the vans out there, take care, take money.